modeling is not something that you really have done too much of, but is it something that you might, again, would you go back to it if you had opportunities that?
Yeah, no, if the right opportunities came along, absolutely, I would take it.
Okay.
It's just the right opportunities need to come. Like, I can't afford to do free things.
Yeah.
Unless it's something that's really different. You know what I'm saying? Like something that I would love to do on my own as a trade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I give you the content, I get the experience, I get the pictures kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, if I have paid opportunities and they're the content that I enjoy doing, sure.
Would it be mostly just like, say glamour stuff where you're
No, I mean, I'm fine with adult stuff. It's just not porn. I don't want
So
sex.
nudity would be okay, but no sex.
Nudity is fine. I don't want girl, boy, sex acts, like nothing like that. That's where I draw the line on that.
Okay. So like Playboy level
yes.
would be okay.
Yes.
Which I don't even know if Playboy still, because I remember hearing some years ago that Playboy was going to kind of, I think, stop doing nude layouts and just do more like I don't even know if these magazines are still around, but like FHM Maxim. Do you remember those magazines from like 20 years ago? Yeah. Where, they'd still be glamorous and alluring, but they wouldn't show very much beyond that. So
yeah, it needs to be tasteful, classy, pretty, Well,
and I'm sure there's some really good photographers out there that are able to do some really good work. But again, you'd want to get paid for it most likely. Yeah. Which is kind of the thing, which I get, it's you're at a point where you're like,
I don't have a lot of free time. So I need, if I'm going to take away from things that are paying me, I need to be
it has to be worth your while.
I need to make it worth my while and be paid for it.
Yeah. Which, is, I feel like doing work for free in that way it can be a luxury for some people, because if you're making enough money that you don't have to rely on, say, getting paid for certain work, that you can just do it to do it, as opposed to, needing to make that money because it's like for however much you work on a regular basis. It's like, again, this is what my time is worth hourly because this is what I'm making doing my regular job. So, but so then, because I'm curious then, so the Mistress Metal, is that like an alternate persona or like an alter ego, or what is it that just
No, I mean, I was known a lot, years ago back in the MySpace days.
Okay.
When, you could write up whatever screen name you wanted to.
Okay.
My name was Metal back then.
Okay.
So a lot of times when I would travel and I would go places, because I went to a lot of concerts and festivals and things like that, I'd go somewhere and somebody would come up to me and go, "Are you Metal from MySpace?" So everybody just kind of knew me as that. And then when I had gotten my boobs done for the first time, like the bigger ones, when I was 3,000, my screen name was what my bra size was. So I lived in Las Vegas, so I was LV 36K Metal.
Okay.
So that's how like everybody knows me as. But now that I have the expanders and I'm increasing size,
the size is
the size. I'm waiting until I get to wherever it is I end up planning on maxing out at, and then I'll change my screen name again.
Okay.
So I still wanted to keep some kind of tie with the name that I'm known as.
Yeah.
And I do stuff like dominatrix type thing and stuff
you
like
do
that.
that
So
kind of
yeah, so it kind of all
fits.
It all ties in.
Okay. So are you in like the BDSM world a little bit, or is it more just
I used to do a little bit of work with it, and I do enjoy like fetish work and stuff. So if people wanted that type of photography, like dominatrix type stuff,
there's a big
like that type of thing. I love doing stuff like that.
Okay. Well, take note. So you were telling me though that. This is the second podcast you've ever done, or
yes?
Okay, and the first one you did was with Andrew Dice Clay.
Yes.
Please walk me through, how did that happen? How did that come about?
Well, I've always loved him. I saw him back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Always wanted to meet him, and he was playing at Vinyl.
Okay.
So the friend that hooked me up to get into the show that night was able to get me to meet him at the end of the show. Okay. And at the end of the show, his wife at that time was out there with him, and they were taking pictures and signing autographs and doing like all that kind of stuff. So I took a picture with him and met him. And shortly after that, they had come up with an idea of Dice Chick of the Month.
Okay.
Where he was going to pick one girl, and every single month he was going to pick that one person, and he was going to put them on his website, and he was going to interview them on a podcast. And I think there was one other thing that he was going to do with them. And his wife remembered meeting me, and she suggested to him, why don't we pick her? So I was the first one.
Wow. So when was this?
Again, I kind of lost track of years. I think. Did
you have your 3000s at that point?
Yeah, the threes.
Okay.
The 3000. Because I got those, I think, in 2007, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay. You had those
and
for
I
a
moved
while.
here in 2010.
Okay. Okay. And it was here when
yes.
you, okay.
Yeah. He lived here back then.
Okay.
And it was my birthday weekend, too. So when I went to the podcast, he had a bottle of champagne for me and a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, that's nice.
It was so nice.
Did that surprise you that he did that for you?
Yeah, because I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting that. I mean, he's really nice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
his onstage persona is very like that's not him.
That's I mean,
I guess to an extent,
to a degree. But I mean, he's very nice.
Okay,
like, he was very respectful. Like the way that he acts on stage is not how he treated me when we did the podcast. He wasn't there like making fun of me and put me down or, you know, like anything like that. He was just like this.
Like this,
just normal and talking. It was a lot of fun. But I thought it was really sweet that he did that for my birthday.
Nice, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is because his onstage persona, you know, that's what made him so successful was because he had this very irreverent kind of.
And I love his onstage.
Yeah, yeah, you know, this kind of
awesome.
Yeah, the brashness, the very I don't want to say vulgar, but essentially, yeah, is a very you know, adult comedy, and it's just you think that. You know, and I think it's sometimes people don't get that comedians do have this kind of, you know, stage persona as opposed to just being that person. So, I mean, it's cool that he ended up being in that way, just again, very nice and considerate and everything like that.